guys, hope you're good. Um, we're back again with another market outlook video. I believe we're going to be doing things differently this time around. I'm not going to analyze with you and you seeing me analyze, but I'm just going to be showing you what is it that I was looking for and where we are currently with the market. So another thing that I'm going to be starting to do is to show these demand zone on the specific time zones. So for an example, the time frames I meant to say, so the 4H will be shown on the 4H and above, and also the 1H will be shown on the 1H above, because I don't want to be somehow distracted. So price did break. This was our 4H high low right here, as we were bullish to the upside. If you watched our previous market outlook, you will realize that we did have this as our recent high. Sorry about that. And the market broke this recent high with this move, making that our recent high low, and price broke to the downside. And now that was because of NFP. Now that being said, with that happening, that shows that we are changing the trend, and currently where we are, price is pushed to the downside, and as you know, the price can never move in one direction all the time. So there are two possibilities that can happen here. Price may continue to push to the downside, react to this, come back up, or price might correct from right where it is, correct to the recent break and retest zone, and drop to the downside. That's scenario number one. Or scenario number two, it can push to the top, which is the 4H supply, and drop to the downside. But there's a 1H supply that is there for a reason, where we could see price taking out those that have entered on the 1H supply as it retests the 4H supply before it can drop to the downside. But if that doesn't happen, then we will have to be changing our bias to longs if price does break above our recent lower high, which is at the top there, which is you can call it a recent high and a recent low here. So dropping down to the 1H so that you can see the 1H supply zone. You can see the 1H supply zone is here, and I will also just be marking this so it can only be shown on this and below, so on 1H and below. And as you can see, 4H, the 1H supply doesn't show, and 1H, the 4H supply doesn't show. So this is also a terrible opportunity. If price comes back here, rejects, comes to the downside to give us more downward movement, then we could be looking for sells on a lot of dollar pairs. Dollar XXX, we could be looking for sells in XXX dollar, like your GBP/USD and ZD/USD, EUR/USD. We could be looking for continued buys, and I believe with the dollar index, that is all. Now dropping down to the Japanese yen index, you can see that we are still moving to the upside. We did change structure after failing to break this move. After failing to break to the downside or continue to the downside, but it also showing as we were correcting in this type of nature, and we did push to the upside, came back in, had a higher low, pushed to the upside. This is our recent high, and if price continues to the upside, it might continue to the upside, then come to this demand zone that it created to retest and continue to push it upside, making that our recent higher low. But we would love to see how will price react to this zone, as it is our daily daily lower high. So there's nothing else on the on the lower time frames. Say the downward time frames. On the lower time frames, you can see 1H is still also holding on here, and except for the fact that I'm just realizing another thing, that we are having, if price breaks to the upside, then we could either have this big demand, or we could have this as a demand zone just right here. If price does break to the upside, that now will also be working on that 4H scenario. So we could be having something like this, and on 4H you will see that I did say that this could be a possible demand area which price can come back to. So I will just leave it like that, because there's no point in me trying to change anything or trying to force things. So this is a 4H demand, and I'd like to see price playing out. So let me just drop down to 30 minutes, trying to see what is it saying, what is it showing. And 30 minutes is still showing the 1H zone. So let me just then move to the next, start with the pairs now. So this is our newest entry on our watch list. I'm gonna start on 4H because daily is still also pushing to the upside. So I'm also starting on 4H. You will see that price right here broke structure. There was a break of structure here as price created a new higher low. This is our higher high, this is our higher low. In fact, this is our higher low as price. With this move, it never broke above that, but this is the move that broke to the high. But where we are trading at the moment as we speak, we are trading closer to the 4H supply zone, while also that is our 4H resistance. It says resistant area that could be holding the price at the moment. If price breaks above, then we could be seeing a continued move to the upside, and I do have one possible reaction zone, and most probably there is another one here, which I'll just I'm not so sure about if it's gonna be that strong toward the price, but I'll be looking at these two zones should price fail to push to the downside or break to the upside. That is also another possibility, as you can see that price is somehow moving in a correcting manner. So price can just come back to break this 4H high low, come back and then drop. But we will be ready for either direction, or either bias, or either scenario. So, and I believe 1H doesn't show anything except for this current demand zone, whereby you can see that price did push it upside, left the demand here, but then at the same time came back to retest it. So that's why we would be having more confidence on price pushing to the upside. And then dropping down to 30 minute, and as you can see, 30 minutes still also showing that this is our demand zone as price, and price hasn't retested it on 30 minute. Funny enough, which I don't understand how is it that on 1H the lowest that the price has gotten was 88574, or most probably this is just a spike created by the market close, and 30 minute, that on 30 minute never. And if that on 30 minute, on 1 hour never happened, then price can come back here and push it upside. But if it doesn't, we'll still be waiting to see where we would go. Now moving to CAD JPY, I'm gonna also move down to the 4 hourly and maybe start on daily, so that you can see that this is our daily higher low, and right here also price has approached a daily demand zone. But I really use daily time frame for demand and supply zones. I just use it for my overall structure and also my possible reaction zones, which now you will see that we do have one just here where we think that price could just come back and stop there before it could continue to the down, before it come back and stop here before it can continue to the downside, or maybe just react correct and then drop to the downside. But on 4 hourly we are gonna have to see what is it that the price is doing, or what is price doing, and let us see how and then also plan out on saying what is it that we can plan to see. So this was our structure, our recent structure, as this was a recent high low and our high, and hoping that we were hoping that price would continue to the upside after failing to break for a couple of times up until we started seeing bearish momentum. But we also left one demand zone on 4-hourly there, and if price does push to the downside, then this could be our new 4-hour demand zone. But as for right now, price hasn't broken to the downside, and also we are somehow reacting to this zone right here to the downside. So we will be waiting, but also 1H is somehow different. 1H is saying that there is another supply zone here just closer to where price is. As you can see how price closed, that it could come back here to retest this supply zone before dropping to the downside. But also let me just fix these zones. We go down to the 4H and try and make this up here also 4H and daily. So we do have that, and we also have a broken area or a broken zone right here where price can come back to and do a break and retest. But if all of that fails, then we will have to wait on the sidelines and see what is the market trying to do. And I believe that's all on CAD GPU. Now with GBP USD, I don't really have a lot except to say that we did break structure just right here, and after breaking structure, this was a recent lower high, price did break structure to create a new high, leaving just right here as our 4H high low, and not only our 4H high low but also leaving us with a 4H demand zone just down here. Now trading view doesn't want me to plotting it down there, but also why is it plotting it down there when the zone is just, or the area is just down here? So no problem, that is our 4H high low that created the move to create the 4H higher high. And price can do one of two. So we can either break above this recent resistance, whereby price is now also showing that it's rejecting. We could, as the market opened, we could see price continuing to the upside, or we could see price coming back to the 4H higher low plus 4H demand plus 1H demand 2. And as you can see, this is our 4H demand, and if I drop down to 1H, inside that 4H demand, you will see there is a 1H demand, and that on its own is giving me a bit of a high probability. Say, should we get down here, then we will be probably seeing price pushing to the upside, and that will also be our outlook pending CPI on Wednesday. And I'm gonna move to the next day, which is one of the crazy ones. It's a little bit crazy for me because of how it started moving. 4H price was bullish for quite some time, as you can see, but a lot started happening as we would just after the end of the month, which was June. We started moving a little bit crazy, failing to break any highs on 4H. But I think, if I'm not wrong, this was our 4H high, and this was our 4H higher low, as price has spoken about. See, yeah, but that was not something we saw, and this is not something I saw when I was analyzing, but I just saw it now. As you can see, this was our 4H higher low. Price came back here to create a new low, and this was 4H supply zone. Price tried to take us out, came back in, and as soon as it broke below this zone, we're just supposed to look for an entry, but it was not going to be a very good entry based on the stop loss that was going to be a good entry, and we would be 1:1 on it. But yeah, we didn't get that, but then at the moment as we broke, if I use the what I just analyzed on, we will see that we do have demand zone just up here, supply zone I meant to say. We do have a supply zone at the top whereby price might come back to, and also have a 1H supply zone closer to it whereby price might also come back to it. But if that doesn't happen, price might continue to the downside. Dropping to 1H just to show you this supply zone that price left when it was pushing to the downside. But if for now, if price does break below this, then we're gonna have this zone as our new current supply zone, which is a big zone, but we have been used to some of these big zones and price reacting from them. So that's currently what we have. Only have two possibilities. Either price is gonna come back to the top here, drop, or price is gonna continue drop to the downside, most probably to the next demand or possible reaction zone. Let's move to the last one, which is USD JPY. For hourly, we also, just like the other JPY pairs, which is CAD JPY and I think that's only CAD JPY. Okay, I'm not so sure why I wrote that as our. Okay, this is 11 days, not day. Yeah, on daily, you can see that we do have our daily high low, along with our daily zone. But as I did say not so long ago, I do not use daily. The zones, I just use daily for partial reaction zones and structure. So we have this right here as a possible reaction zone should price decide to break below the daily high low. But if not, then price might start to continue to the upside. But let me just mark it down here, and from there just move to 4 hour. And with 4 hour, you can see that this was our recent high low as price was pushing to the upside. This is the last zone that created this move to the upside, and price broke. When price broke it, left a big 4 hour the supply zone. See, just up here, this is a 4H supply zone, which I'll have just fix it to, and this is a 1H supply. So price, as this is a very big supply zone, we could see price coming back to digging deep before dropping. But if it doesn't, then we will start seeing price just rejecting here, drop to the downside. Let us see what is 1H showing us. 1H is showing us that there is indeed a supply zone at the top, which is a 1 hourly supply zone, and which has not been retested. So we will be waiting also to see if price can do what I just explained, and also most probably have 3 of the reasons why we should enter, which is supply zone, which is the 1H supply zone, break and retest, and also 4H supply zone retest. Probably could have another confirmation, which could be a 61.8 type of retracement based on the Fibonacci retracement. As you can see, that's also some of the things that we'll be having. So by price coming back to the golden zone, which is 50 and 61.8, before it could drop to the downside. But for now, let us wait and see how the market will open, how and what it will move like. And that's all. Thank you.